You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
To a brand new episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast, the podcast that talks about my four favourite subjects. That's movies,
TV shows,
video games, and board games.
I'm your host, Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome. This week's episode is going to be a soundtrack episode. We're going to be talking about our top 5 James Bond songs or theme songs of all time. And I'm joined around the table by the guys that love to talk about James Bond theme songs. Introduce yourselves around that table, please.
Hi guys, it's JK. 007.
Changed it up. Can't top that.
Can't top that now.
H, the man with usually 2 lists. Ooh. And the name's Mario. Super Mario.
There you go. Well done, guys. I'm glad I can have to top any of those, and I introduce myself first. Anyway, how are you guys? How are we?
Very well.
Thank you for coming into this episode. Howard, it's a soundtrack episode. We love these episodes.
We love banging soundtracks, Anthony.
Yeah. We do, mate. John?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
I like it.
I'll have to give them some more sound bites.
New season, new sound bites.
Yeah, it is, mate.
Yes.
Oh, I should have put no.
John's book of catchphrases.
But how was the list for you guys? How was it? Easy for you guys? Hard at all? Or
very easy?
Very easy for you? Yeah,
definitely.
I had too many options. You see my notes.
I think it's about 25 anyway.
Every time I just go, I spoiled for choice. I'm going to write this and this one and this one. Oh, no, it's 5. This one and this one. Now I know why you do 2 lists.
Yeah. It was a little bit like that for me as well. I had 2 or 3 straight off the bat, and then I had to kind of like really do a little bit of work on the last one too. So.
Nice. I think the first 3 were easy for me, and then that's it. The last 2, I had to really wrap my head around and think, and try not to clash as well at the same time.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I think
I love how you're honest about it, John.
I think there's going to be a lot of clashes.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, it's definitely happening, isn't it?
All right, so obviously the few questions, and then we'll go to the top 5s as always. Obviously, do you love a good Bond song?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes, of course. Who doesn't?
Depending whether it's old, new, whatnot.
It doesn't matter. It sets up the film, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So how important is it for you guys to have a Bond theme song in the movie? I mean, is there any point having one without one now? Or
it's part and parcel of the whole package.
It is part and parcel, yeah. I totally agree with Howard, yeah.
I mean, how they started off with like saying the title of the film, and some of them how they made a song out of the title of the film is even better. Like, and it sets up that it's almost like because you have the opening scene, don't you, of the film, and you've got the kind of the Bond notes at the beginning, then it goes straight into the kind of action sequence, builds to that big explosion climax or something, and then you get that kind of cooling off period to breathe a little bit after the excitement.
After the big opening scene, isn't it?
That big thing you get, and you get to watch all the semi-clad and naked ladies dancing around in silhouette.
Yes, of course.
And as a teenage boy, just sitting there as close to the TV as you can, just hoping for a glimpse of something.
Anything.
It was like trying to watch, the old German channels on Sky late at night. Come on! Oh no, you're pixelated. Oh, damn it!
The 10-minute preview's over.
That's it.
And then you said a lump for Bravo.
God, that's not even around anymore, is it?
Miss Bravo.
So
anyway, back on track.
Back on Bond song for a sec. So with the song, I'm going to go to the artist of the song. Does it bother you who makes the song at all? Like, say you're not a big fan of Billie Eilish, for example. Would you still give it a listen? Would you still maybe like it at all?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I listen to it because it's part of the film, isn't it?
Yeah, so I gave it a moment for some of them. And then afterwards it was a bit, it's not a Bond song. In my head, that's what it was going anyway.
Right.
People may disagree.
Yeah, there's a couple of the films I preferred the film to the song. The song was a bit,
Well, I was going to say that at the end of when we do our top fives, instead of doing honourable mentions, let's go through ones that you didn't actually like and why.
Oh, wicked. Horrible mentions.
Okay.
Yes, horrible mentions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We changed the honour to horrible. So
At work.
Horrible. Yeah.
And obviously, very last question, because obviously this is going to be soundtrack episode. We're going to go on quite a bit with this. If they ever rebrand Bond and decide to just go away with the whole Bond theme song thing, do you think that it takes away? It's going to change that Bond film because we don't have now a song to get you going, or like Mary said, have that breather at all. If it completely changes it, like the credits are at the beginning and that's it. We don't get an opening scene. We just go straight into it now.
I think it'll be a different product completely.
Yes, I
Yeah.
totally agree, yeah.
I think it will become like the prequels for Star Wars. Like when I watched them, they weren't my Star Wars.
Yeah.
But then there's a new generation of people coming through that may enjoy Bond going forward.
Yeah.
And that'll be their Bond.
Yeah.
That'll be it. That'll be how they know Bond. They won't go back and look at any of the others. They won't even recognise that there are any others.
Yeah.
And they'll just carry on from there.
Yeah, because I think you look at a lot of things. You've got classics. And I think these 26 Bonds, isn't there? These will become the classic Bonds, and then you're going to have your new generation, shall we say?
But it
doesn't necessarily mean I won't like the films.
That frightens me.
But if they, I know, yeah. But if they do, personally, I don't want them to change the format because it's tried and tested.
No, and it's the perfect example of if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Exactly.
100%.
Totally
It has that whole. I just think nowadays he's a little bit outdated, but every film I watch, I still love every character,
God,
everything he does. Definitely, Bond is the man.
Mm-hmm. And needs a song all the time.
Every time, he does. He needs something to play in the background. It's like.
Exactly.
When he's in a car chase, he needs something that you can build up the tempo to. You know, when he's making love to that Russian spy, he needs that slowed down version of the title riff just playing in the background. You know, all those things. He needs a theme song so that it's not the same every film where they just build to the Bond theme and then bring it back down. No, you need that theme song just to break up those moments and different variations of it through the film. Just to
sort of signify which film it is as well, isn't it? So in a way, isn't it?
I mean, it'll just become a normal action film if they didn't have the music involved in it. Because there's always music in a Bond film. So I think like we just said, don't change it. It's working fine as it is.
It'd be like the Jack Ryan films, more or less, wouldn't it? Like where it's his character in name, and that's it. Like the film doesn't really follow any format or anything. That it needs to have the music. It needs to have the format. It needs to have everything kind of.
It's an established thing now, so leave it. Yeah.
But also, like the Bond theme is the signature. Each song is the signature of that film. I think if you take it away, it will. Maybe we're just old and crusty, but I think it would damage the franchise if they didn't include that. Going forward.
Old and crusty, like John.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oi.
Less of the old.
Right, so I don't actually have any more questions because I think we're going to go on quite a while with this one. So does anyone else have anything to throw in? If not, we'll go straight to the top fives.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it then.
It's time for a top five.
So let's do the usual. Right, who's going to roll the dice first this time? Oh, I've just rolled a 9. There we go.
That'll be you then. And
six. Go on, Howard. You're so starting this now. 17. Oh, go on, John. No, not in the hole, John. It's not golf.
First hole he's got.
He's got the 20. That means you're going first. There we go around clockwise from
going to come out now, John.
Okay. It's
right.
coming. We're going to do some new ones.
So there are 25 Bond theme songs. I don't think we're going to mention them all, but if we don't, bollocks to you, should have been on the episode. Number 5.
Number 5.
Right, my number 5 is the actual James Bond theme by John Barry Orchestra.
Shall we have it then?
1962.
Let's do it. Are we technically cheating because it's the actual theme song? Or?
No, it was the
theme song.
It was for Dr. No, wasn't it? Yeah.
Dr. No.
So why this song, John?
That's why we're here. It's the Bond song.
It's true.
Every time I hear it, and you hear elements of it in lots of other tracks, not every one of them, but you'll hear them. You only have to hear the first couple of chords, Bond, if someone played you literally 3 seconds of that, you'd know exactly what
it's one of the most enduring pieces of music in the world, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what you say. As soon as you hear it, you know it.
Between that and the Pink Panther theme, yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it's exactly the same situation.
It is, yeah.
Very much the same.
You hear that first 3 notes, and it goes, you know what you're in for.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah. And I always love listening to that track. Got it on a playlist in the car.
Was you playing on the way here?
Yeah, was.
You say it was, wasn't you? You were doing heavy turns on the roundabout to the Bond theme song.
Yeah, when I get to my number 1, I'll explain a bit more. But yeah, no, I really like that song.
Is that it?
Thanks for coming, John.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 1962. It's Dr. No, the very first James Bond film. Sean Connery was Bond. It was the first book by Ian Fleming to be made into a film, but was actually his 6th book. Many aspects of what would become 007's staple were kept on and viewed through the gun barrel and the stylized main title sequence. So that's where all the viewing all started there. There are many references from the previous 5 books are present, and there are other books that he did, such as Spectre. I just love a Bond film. It's one of the few franchises I've got the time to sit and watch. You know, I mean, there's lots of horror. I mean, I'm a big horror fan, and I do like my horror films. But if I was looking and I come across, scroll through, and I see a Bond film, I'd sit and watch the Bond film before the horror film that I really wanted to watch.
It used to be bank holiday viewing, wasn't it?
God,
like every time, like you have a
That's
bank
what we grew up
holiday,
with.
it would be Connery, it would be Roger Moore, and then
Always on ITV, isn't it?
Always on ITV.
Yeah. Like you say, bank holiday,
riddled with adverts.
Absolutely teeming with adverts.
Love them,
But yeah, you'd sit and watch it family viewing, which was awkward sometimes in some of the scenes.
Yeah,
but
but
it was like my parents. It was probably one of the only action.
Had to get the cushion to put on your lap.
It was the only.
Mum and Dad was sitting there watching the film with you, but you know.
But it was one of the only.
John.
But it was one of the earliest.
But it's true.
Why are you putting cushions on your lap?
Well, you know, when
Because he's keeping his dinner from burning his house.
I'm eating my dinner, aren't I? But you know, you grow up with Bond, and like you say, you know, you sit watching it with your mum and dad, and you're like, yeah, okay.
Sure. Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
No wonder you wanted to be on the episode.
Well, you know, but you know, what was it? I've got.
It's cracking up here.
John,
Sorry,
tell me.
all I'm thinking is you've got your cushion on your lap, and all you're thinking of is pussy galore.
Nice one.
Thank you on for all week.
Good it. But yeah, no.
So go on. Dr. No was
Dr. No was the first one.
But what was the secondary song within Dr. No?
Oh shit. Yeah. Nancy, now you caught me because you've obviously done this bit. I haven't done that bit.
It's all up here.
I probably know it if you tell me, but yeah.
3 Blind Mice.
Oh no, I didn't know that then. Oh, okay, yeah. All
3
right,
Blind
yeah.
Mice.
The nursery rhyme?
The nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
Really?
So at the very beginning of the film, when the credit sequence is going, and it goes into 3 Blind Mice after the Monty Norman theme tune.
Oh wow! Yeah, I didn't know that.
Oh,
See, I haven't seen that film in so long.
Right.
But right, I'll have to go back and watch that now.
With your pillow?
With my pillow, yeah.
John, get back on Google. Go on.
Yeah. No.
Anything else on that then?
No.
All right. Over to Howard then. What's your number 5?
So let's follow up a classic with the second Sean Connery from Russia.
Oh, yes.
Nice.
Yes.
From Russia with love, I fly to you.
If it was like the video game you made, Mother Russia Bleeds, this version.
This is what plays over the trailer for that game, isn't it? That's exactly what it is.
So why Mother Russia with Love? Why From Russia with Love,
I
sir?
could talk about Mother Russia Bleeds all night. It was the first theoretical Bond theme of its kind. But what a great song! I mean, I love From Russia with Love as a film. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm like listening to it now. Yeah,
absolutely. And Matt Monro, I mean, I'm not his biggest fan. he's just not making music like he
He's
used
just
to.
one of the crooners, isn't he? He's just one of the old boys. The
Yeah.
Sinatras,
Yeah, and I think
He's a Sinatra wannabe, is he?
yeah, pretty much.
Well, probably was, yeah.
You can hear it in his voice, let's be honest. He's trying.
Yeah, and
Bless him, he's tried.
hey, look, it works for me. It works for me.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah, and I think it fits the tone of the film as well.
Yes.
And yeah, like I said, it is the sort of progenitor of what we were going to have for the next God knows how many years.
24 or 5 films after that one. I think it was 25 or 26 to run all together.
26. It's just a really nice theme tune, and you can slightly hear the motif running through it.
It does.
Ever so slightly.
It's the beat and there's little aspects to it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know what else to say about it, really.
It's so weird because I'm expecting you to bring another list up. No, that's nice, mate.
For Rush of Love. So Matt Monro, 1963, and yeah, I think it's possibly my favourite Sean Connery film as well. A lot of people will go for Goldeneye. They'll go for Goldeneye. Start again, shall I? They'll go for Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Or they'll quote Dr. No. But yeah, from Russia with Love, I like the story, but the underlying theme of the song, I think it just elevates it.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. It was for me, it was very Harry Palmer, Michael Caine-ish.
Oh, okay, yeah, well,
see, I
Every time he says I like it, I just want to play the fucking clip.
I do.
I like it.
I'm a big Michael Caine fan, so I remember watching that, and it's I just see Michael Caine as Harry Palmer.
Same sort of time, though.
It is, yeah.
Similar time.
Did you know his last name? Well, it's Carter. That's my name.
But yeah, like you say, that I mean, the first, my one was done by the John Barry Orchestra, and although he did the score for a lot of the films, that kind of set the tone to have a singer do the music rather than an orchestra do it. So it was quite good. Yeah,
But he was involved in quite a lot of the
He
things.
did, quite a
John
lot.
Barry did
It was.
loads of them.
But it's just a little snippet here about John Barry. It said for every Bond movie that he scored, he orchestrated a slightly different version.
Yeah, he did it through the films. That's all the little extra bits.
He did subtle changes, often reflected the style, location, and the actor of the film in the music. The slight little. I think I never really noticed that. I'll have to go back and listen to them now because
They're probably really subtle.
yeah,
Like.
too subtle for you to probably know, but yeah,
That's likely.
But no, I like that. Yeah,
I like it too, John.
Well, that's good.
Well, it's good you like it, mate. Yeah. Anything else on From Russia with Love, sir?
No.
Okay, then. Over to Mr. Mario.
So, my one, I really like.
No shit.
No, it's Paul McCartney and Wings, Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die.
Nice.
When you were young and your heart was an open book, you used to say, live and let live. You know you did, you know you did, you know you did. But if this ever
I love the slow pace into this, and then it kicks in, doesn't it?
Punches you in the face.
Yes.
makes
But it's-
you give in and cry, say live and let die.
So why Live and Let Die, sir?
Because of that, exactly that. It follows the opening sequence of a Bond film.
Yeah.
It starts slow, it kind of drags you in slightly, and then it does this, where it just punches you in the face and just keeps you going. It's like, it's an opening scene to an action film without the action actually happening. Like the song just takes part and it is involved in everything. And it translated so well when Guns N' Roses also did the cover version of it.
I was going to say, was there someone else did a cover,
Guns
didn't
N'
they?
Roses did a cover version of it, and that was the first time that I recognised the song and the film together, which is a really strange thing to say when it's like, oh yeah, that's from James Bond, but it's like I didn't recognise Paul McCartney.
But it's metal.
Yeah, it's it. It's rock. Kind of. But yeah, and then it does this.
yeah,
And it mellows down
funk,
again, right?
A little funk.
yeah.
And then it's like,
Yeah, that's it. Has every element to that song of the Bond film. That it almost paces out the same as the film.
Yeah.
Nice and slow, ease you in, punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Then we're going to keep you going. Oh, here's action. Oh no, he's found a lady. Let's slow it down a little bit. Slow it down a bit.
Yeah.
Oh no, she turns out to be bad. Let's speed it up a bit.
Ramp it up, yeah.
Yeah, and now you've got the closing sequence. Where he drifts off in a whatever it is into the sunset with the lady in his arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just this is the Bond kind of sums up every Bond film in the song. I think it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Paul McCartney did a good job with it. And
I think.
Do you think that we were like, how do I put this? We always had the same type of song up until now, and then obviously this was a slight different turn to it, if you will.
Yeah, I think if you hear like From Russia with Love, it stays at one kind of pace. It has that format of a song, verse, chorus. As where this was something different. It followed like a different thing. Also, I didn't realise, I've got it in my notes here, but reading through the history of it, it was the first time that George Martin had come back to do a song with Paul McCartney since the Beatles.
Oh, really?
So it was the last time, or the next time that those two worked together on any song, and it happened to be this particular one.
Wow.
And it just has that whole appeal to it. I mean, you could be mistaken thinking it was maybe even a Beatles song because of the way Paul McCartney sings, but it's just got something about it. It brings together that inclusion of the Bond kind of story into the song as well, just through the music, not through the words so much, but like.
But also, any Beatles, McCartney detractors, it's a very, very fine example of how versatile he was as a singer-songwriter.
Definitely.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. I think up until that point, From Russia with Love, right up until Diamonds
Off Forever,
they were following a similar style, and this completely removed itself.
Absolutely. Gave it energy where it needed energy, and then slowed it down, and kind of it let you breathe, and then it took the breath away.
It's got all the aspects of the film, because that's how a Bond film starts. Starts big, goes down, and then then it's up and down through the film, and then it's like tail off at the end.
But I like what Mario said. Yeah, it's instantly told the story.
Yes.
It builds to your explosion, then it comes back down again. And then it goes to the explosion, and then it's like, oh no, here's the bit where he's the love interests come in now. We're making.
Oh, I love how
you
said
back
it.
out again.
And she's a baddie, so the big music picks up.
Exactly.
And then he meets, then he meets the good girlie, and then it's off, and then he goes off. The whole film is in that song, like you said.
Exactly that. It follows that performance. It's really good, and it's not. So when Guns N' Roses did it, it's heavy guitars. It lends itself to that.
Yeah.
But it's the orchestral, the strings, the drums, everything just kind of coming in and like almost stabbing at the moments. Like you get that accent to everything that's happening, and I think it just gives that energy to a Bond film, or the start of a Bond film. And
the orchestral's like the pivotal part of the theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like, let's do something different now. So.
Yeah, well, it's like, I think some of the Bond films, they kind of I think they work around the song.
Yeah.
Rather than, whereas this song seems to work around the film.
Yeah.
Because it's got, like you say, it's got all the ups and downs where they should be and so on, so yeah.
And there's, again, if you watch the films, there's little slow kind of moments of the song and little bits of the song as it goes through at certain stages.
I like the film. It would have been in my top 10 anyway, but... Not in the top 5, unfortunately, but it's a good film. I do like it.
Spoiler.
But I like the Beatles' music, so I like it when they go off and do their own things. So I like that one. So.
You keep setting yourself up.
I'm going to have to change that.
You're right. You're going to write it down in a little notebook, or research it on Google.
On his headstone,
words John should not say.
It's built on my tombstone.
I like that. He liked it.
Yeah.
He's going to say at the bottom of it,
right.
Don't dig him up. It's really gory.
Bloody gory. Bloody gory down here. Oh, Jesus.
But Live and Let Die, what a great introduction to Roger Moore's Bond.
100%.
I mean, obviously I didn't know him as this beforehand, but watching after knowing him as Bond, as the Saint.
Which I used to watch on Channel 4 on the TV. So daytime watching, when I was too young to go to school, the Saint was on, and... I got ill when I was at primary school, and I missed an academic year at school.
Oh, wow.
And that was on during the day. So it used to be, I think it was TVAM something, and then it was the Saint. And that used to be kind of my thought process.
So you kind of grew up with that then?
That was your education for
that was
the
my
year.
education. That was it. And the thing was, I went to Catholic school, and the Saint, of course... Each time he portrays a character as a saint, and he always mentions that to whoever. Oh yes, my name is so and so. Oh, isn't that the patron saint of? And I could take that back to school and go, oh yeah, that's St. Augustine. And
St. Augustine.
Going, I don't even know who this saint is. Oh yeah, no, check it out.
Clever.
So Live and Let Die, was that his second one, Roger Moore's?
No, it was his first.
It was his first. No way.
That was the Connery break, wasn't it? That was where Connery said he didn't want to do it anymore or something, and they went.
Apparently, a company called Eon were making them.
That was it.
And then they took over the rights, shall we say, and that's where George Lazenby got brought in.
Yep.
And then I think it went back to Eon.
Yeah, with
and then
Diamonds Are Forever.
And then I think Sean Connery came back after, because George Lazenby said he was only going to do the one film. I'm just doing one, that's it. So they brought Sean Connery back for one more, and then Roger Moore took over. But yeah, because like Sean Connery did 7 films, Lazenby did 1, Roger Moore did 7 films, Timothy Dalton did 2, Pierce Brosnan did 4, and Daniel Craig did 5, and David Niven did 1. the original
Casino Royale, wasn't it?
The original Casino Royale, 1967. Yeah. So.
I suppose that's a good intro for a new Bond. Is a completely new, different type of theme song, like we weren't used to. Yeah, nice,
different pace.
Yeah. Anything else on Live and Let Die, sir?
No, not really. The only thing I got to say is, like, it was a different artist as well. So it was a kind of, at that time, it was a current recording artist that was brought into it. So way back when, some of the others had been recording artists of their own right, but they weren't very kind of up there in the
No.
This was the first time you kind of got a proper recording. I say proper as if like none of the others were proper, but you got a modern recording artist come an artist of the time, more or less.
Big name.
And did they carry on? Did they carry on with that afterwards?
I think they carried on a little bit. I think they went for quite a lot of it. They kind of built up, didn't they? They kept going through. Who would be really good to do
whoever
this?
was big in the charts. Wasn't
and then you kind of get that idea. I think that kind of marries with my list later on. But you kind of get whoever was, like you say, big in the charts at the time, or a name, or someone that you would recognise. Then it kind of built from there, and it has done since. I think like you've got more current recording artists doing Bond themes and wanting to do Bond themes.
But it's like you know, it's like you don't need a current singer, shall we say, to do the Bond film. A Bond film stands on its own. Whoever, you could get anyone to do the song, really.
Yeah.
Plus also
within reason, but
the last couple of 2 or 3 films, I think there's actually vied a couple of groups or bands or singers against each other in order to say who can produce the better song.
Doing some research, I found they did that anyway. Like, there were people that wrote songs. I didn't even realise they'd written songs for Bond films, and then were dropped because the studio went, nah, you're all right.
Oh, right.
And they're big old names as well.
I bet, Because a lot of them do, like you say, so and so will have a hit song in the charts and go to number 1 or whatever, but it was actually written by someone you also know who could have done it and would have made it to number 1 himself.
Yeah. I think in recent times it was Skyfall. So obviously went to, I won't say because it might be on somebody's list, but Muse. I think Muse did a song for Skyfall, and the other one was chosen because it was a very, very good song. But the song that Muse done, and I'm a big Muse fan, was banging.
Yes.
Oh. See, I'd like to hear like these alternate versions.
Well, I don't know if they're alternate versions. They're completely different songs. From what I've kind of read.
What could have been the Bond theme sort of thing. I'd love to hear them.
And some of the artists that have written them as well, you're like,
I think you'd be shocked by the number of well-established singers
and they
recorders.
Didn't write them for themselves as well.
No.
Which is quite interesting. But that's all I have on that one.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
How do I follow that now? my number 5 is terrible, but I'll still do it anyway. My number 5 is Writing on the Wall by Sam Smith. I'm not a big fan of Sam Smith whatsoever. I just like the song. I'll play a little bit now when it presses play, of course.
The film.
So I like this start because it's getting very old style Bond theme.
Built into that Bond.
Exactly,
crescendo into it. It's got the Bond moments.
Absolutely.
And movements.
Absolutely. And obviously we've had so many different artists between then and now. And I just love how it's like very homage to the original. His voice goes...
He is a good singer. He's not on my list of people I like, shall we say. But you can't fault the song.
No.
So,
As I say, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but for some reason, when I saw this film, and because what I tend to do when I knew there was Bond songs for Bond songs, because I'll come to it when my number one comes, but I used to stay away from all the media, so when I went to cinema, I experienced the song for the first time, so I knew who it wasn't done by or anything like that. So when I sat and listened to it, it was like, oh, this is actually really good, and it goes well with the theme of the movie at the start of the movie anyway. And I just felt like, we had so many different iterations of a Bond theme song. Some were good, some were bad, and then I just liked how this kind of went back to its home roots, but nowadays home roots. That's why I was like, I kind of like this version of it. Like I said,
it's just such a shame now that you can't get that surprise anymore.
Yeah,
because what with social media, good or bad, it just so many things get spoiled now, and it's just such a shame. Because I like you, I look for. I grew up through the 80s and stuff, so I looked forward to going to see the film in the cinema, and that's when you first heard the song.
Well, it was that.
I wasn't really a big radio listener.
It was the week before, wasn't it? The week before the charts entering now from here, number 10 or whatever.
10 and so and so.
And from the latest Bond film,
and that was your introduction, and so But whereas now, like 6 months before the film even comes out,
Yep.
I do agree with you, Ant, though. I'm not a big Sam Smith fan.
No,
I think
not at all.
He's got the right elements.
His dress sense is completely out there, and
sitting in his especially now. But this was before he did all that and everything, so he wasn't like that back then either.
But this also showcases him as well as like a singer. Like it has everything that I wouldn't expect from a Sam Smith song.
No.
Yeah,
it's not what I would pick out. If you were to play this against something else that he's done, I wouldn't have put the two together.
You wouldn't put
that's his song.
Exactly, yes.
And that I quite like, in that it's taken a Bond theme and turned it into something, turned him into a different singer.
Yes, yeah.
Rather than the other way around.
He's kind of changed his style a little bit, hasn't he?
But it's shown his versatility as opposed to, people who take a song and go, oh, this doesn't fit me. He's actually gone, okay, so it's not me.
I can make it fit me, sort of
but
thing.
this is what I can do with it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
this is what it is to me. And I think he's done really well. I think it's very reminiscent of like the early kind of, I don't want to say the names of the songs just in case, but like the earlier kind of singers of that sort of style, like from Russia With Love, like it showcases his voice and his style.
Yeah,
I think that this goes back to that and showcases that style, that kind of build, that slow kind of storytelling. And
it's very, very much, you've hit the nail on the head. So yeah, I don't like Sam Smith, but for that exact reason, it's such a powerful song. You can't not like it.
Yeah.
Forget what you think about him, as a person. Whatever.
If I didn't have him as the name singing it, or being told that it was him, and I closed my eyes and heard it for the first time, I wouldn't have preconceived thoughts about the song.
Sure.
Unfortunately, we've already discussed, I'm not a Sam Smith fan.
Yeah, I don't think anyone here at the table is, but
and not even of his music, like his music. But I think the name he brings to me doesn't bring me this song. If somebody says that to me,
yeah, exactly,
and that I quite admire in an artist, that they can do that. I might not like him and what he stands for or any of his values, but actually, I like his artistry.
And I liked what he did with the Bond song, because, like I said, we've had a few that just wanted to do their own thing, and it's pretty evidence that they did their own thing. But at least he went, no, let's go back to the OG Bond. And let's do Bond. Let's forget everything else I do in life, and let's just stick with the theme to it. But can I just play it, because I love the ending to this? It goes so well with the movie as well. How it echoes at the end, I love it, and then it goes in with the. If you watch the movie, it goes so well with the movie. And how it merges into the film with the opening scene to that. It's brilliant. But yeah, that's my number 5. Let's go to John's number 4.
Number 4.
Back to you.
My number 4.
00 JK, whatever it was. Double O whiff.
JK 007, but I ended up saying
Double O, I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, my number 4 is License to Kill, Gladys Knight.
Nice, you son of a bitch. Let's go.
This one on there. in the background. That the Bond note.
Exactly.
There it is again.
Come on, John, sing along. Come on.
I can't sing, but I love
can do
the
these trills. It's a nearly a late 80s, 90s power ballad.
100%.
So, John, why License to Kill?
I love the film. I grew up in the 80s. I love all the 80s music. I'm not a massive Gladys Knight fan. Again, like what we were saying about Sam Smith, I didn't know she was singing it. I liked the song, and then when I found out it was Gladys Knight, I was like, seriously? Because she'd been out a little bit before that.
Yes.
And so I didn't put that down as her style to start with. But the more I listened to it, you do get actually that this is pure Gladys Knight, really.
100%.
And
it's her showcasing her.
Oh God, yeah, and it's such a powerful song. It's one of those songs. I
love that bit.
I hear it when it comes on in the car. My daughter's like, "Oh, here we go," because she knows the volume's up. Because it's just one of those songs you've got to listen to
this
loud.
Is definitely
it's
a magic
power
late
ballad.
night.
It's a proper power ballad.
It's that song where you've got a convertible. You put that roof down, blast this full up.
Fuck yeah, if I had a convertible, I'd
put your headscarf on.
Yeah.
Jackie O'Glasses. Where you go,
where you go, mate.
It's a real Heart FM after midnight. So
Oh,
it really is.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
But it was Timothy Dalton was James Bond. It was his second and final film.
Damn it.
As Bond,
Yeah, unfortunately.
I know Ant's a big, massive fan of Timothy Dalton films. I must admit, I like the Timothy Dalton movies too. But it's one of those songs, again, like you say, it's got Gladys Knight written all over it, but you can hear the Bond's
in the background.
and it's just such a it's one of those songs that you cannot help but you've just got to whack it up.
It's
man.
Bond with the times, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
And like Mario pointed out, you can hear the
80s
and all that
songs
stuff.
were massive anyway, So yeah, it's just every time I hear it, I like.
So your dick gets hard, doesn't it?
But this also plays into that what I was talking about or alluding to earlier. So, do you know who originally was penned to do that film? Eric Clapton.
Oh, wow.
No way!
Oh my God!
So
how good would that have been?
But what? So he wrote a song. He recorded a song with Vic Flick, who was apparently one of the original guitarists on the John Barry orchestra.
Oh wow!
Doing the James Bond film. So those two wrote.
This is why I like doing this podcast.
Those
you get
two
to hear all these little snippets.
Those two wrote a song together for this. And it was based on the horn.
I'd love to hear that.
Well, it was based on the horn section, or this particular song was also based on the horn section from Goldfinger.
Oh, wow.
Really?
The whole song was based on the whole. Yeah.
Did they produce it?
I don't know. Much I didn't know, but as soon as I saw Eric Clapton had written a song, I was trying to find that song for Love Nor Money, and I couldn't find anything.
Yeah. I'm impressed that he was going to do that, considering he was doing Lethal Weapons music at the time, wasn't he? Yeah.
But I would have liked to have heard what he had to offer.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Even if it's on the soundtrack of that film, but
it could be a B-side or something. But I'd still love to hear it.
But it'd be nice to hear the alternatives.
Her song though was just it's massive. Like her voice is very soul-y.
It was one of the first
to Gladys Knight and the Pips.
It was one of the first ones I picked. I literally went straight to that. I just didn't know where to put it in the 5. Do you know
I had it on my when I was going through them all. I had it on there that's why I've got the bit about Eric Clapton. It was on there as one of my alternatives. If one of you had picked up something else, that one was going. But it has that. It has that Bond to a T, and it's got that kind of suave, almost kind of sleazy element to it as well with that horn section. Like Bond is up to something with someone, and that's what that is.
I mean, if you know the film, like Ant does, he gets his license to kill revoked.
He does.
So he goes off.
Spoilers, John, for God's sake!
And he goes off to do his own thing, and like you say, it's in the song.
It's Bond doing. It's a revenge film with Bond.
It is, definitely.
That's why it's fucking awesome.
Yes,
and that's why it was the only rated 15 Bond film at the time, wasn't it?
It was. I remember it got slated as well, but then actually when you go back and watch it, it's like actually this is still Bond.
When you watch
it's still everything you need. Yeah.
No, a man got set on fire, bloke's head exploded. I think
Guy got eaten by sharks.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing? He whipped his girlfriend, who's the drug baron in that. I can't remember his name. He whips her with a massive dildo. Benicio del Toro is in it. I can't remember his name. The bad guy.
The bad guy's name was Franz Sanchez.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to
remember the actor.
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah, I can picture him.
He was Agent Johnson in Die Hard.
That's right. I was going to say, he's been a bad guy in a few things.
He was a Fratelli in the Goonies.
Yes,
yes,
right. Yes, he was. Yes. But yeah, I like that film.
Nice. Howard, number 4, sir.
So we started off with a Sean Connery, and we are moving on to a Roger Moore. Ooh, Live and Let Die.
Nice.
Oh yes.
We already got it, so let's put it on a little bit forward. Yeah. So why is it your number 4? Sorry.
When I was putting this list together, I suddenly realised that I had chosen one from each Bond.
Oh, okay.
Why? Nearly. From each main Bond.
Right.
Live and Let Die was the first James Bond that I ever saw.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So to me, Roger Moore is Bond. He's not necessarily my favourite Bond, but he is the guy that is synonymous with Bond for me.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Mario's pretty much said everything about this film. What a great film.
Yes.
The theme tune, and because I am a big Beatles fan, so Paul McCartney falls into that bracket. The theme tune just absolutely is a statement of everything about this film that I love. I can't top what Mario said, unfortunately.
No, nice. Sorry. Yeah, no. That's what happens when there's only 25 to pick, but hey.
Yeah, there is that.
Of course.
But yeah, John, have you got anything to say? No? All right, Mario, what's your number 4, sir?
So my number 4 is another Bond song that doesn't use the name of the film in the title. And it's a relatively modern one. It's You Know My Name by Chris Cornell.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Casino Royale, sorry.
Take life, do you know what you get?
So why this one, sir?
Because 2 reasons. One, I just really like the song. It's such a great song. It's not Chris Cornell's style. I really loved Soundgarden, and I can't remember the side project he did, but I really loved his voice. His voice was something pivotal.
I want to say it's called Tin Machines or something.
Something like that. And it was really good because it had, what's his name from Rage Against the Machine as the guitarist.
Yeah.
It was so good. But this just kind of brought back Chris Cornell, and it also put him into the kind of front line. At this point, like, if you were like me, Soundgarden had one song like that everybody knew, and Chris Cornell was in the background. This brought him back, but brought him back in style. It does that Bond thing. The guitar takes over the kind of horn section bit of Bond at the beginning and builds up that. And the song itself just starts kind of gentle and builds and builds and builds, and it just keeps going. And just like that film kind of builds and 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 builds until
It doesn't stop though, does it?
It doesn't stop. No, it is like watching John Wick. Like, from the minute the film starts, it just keeps building to something better and better and better and better. And then
this song is like an F1 race.
It is, yeah, with no corners. It's just a straight. No. It's just, there's no slowing down. It just keeps on going
straight to the finish line, straight through it, and then beyond,
into the crowd. And but yeah, and the opening sequence of it as well, where, like I said before, like you had the silhouettes of people. It has that silhouettes kind of set up, and then the playing cards, they explode into like diamonds and clubs.
Yeah, the theme of the movie, isn't it? It's with the casino, obviously, isn't it? Yeah,
and it just plays so well. I just really like that whole thing. And like I say, he came back from nowhere to do this, and then obviously, if you ever watch some of the live appearances, you can understand why Chris Cornell ended up the way he ended up, unfortunately. But he was so good. And the song is so good.
And I never knew who he was until the song came out.
That's what I mean.
Really? So, yeah.
It brought him into the limelight. It showcased him in a way that he should have been showcased in other bands and other genres. And it also was something different, because if you'd listened to Soundgarden, you know that it is that kind of Seattle, dirty, almost depressive kind of teen angst rock sort of thing. And his voice changed the songs and gave emotion to the songs. And I think it does the same with this. It adds like that something, that grittiness as well, as where you, up to this point, you didn't really have, you had clean singers. If you listen to any of them, they're all kind of very, very clean, they're very crisp singers, they sing the points, they're really good vocalists. And then you get to Chris Cornell, and Chris Cornell has that gravel in his voice, that grit, like, and that's what I really like. Like, it's something different but the same. and that's my feeling on this song.
Nice, yeah, because it starts very melody, and then the rock part kicks in towards the end, and then
it just builds, like I say, it just builds and builds and builds, and just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and he gets bigger with it as well. So he starts almost kind of ballady in the best way that he can, and then finishes in the way that he always finished every song, screaming and just giving.
Especially the very end. You don't mind it.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's reminiscent of, I don't want to say it, but another Bond theme. That was done as well by someone else, and it has that kind of feel to it, that build to that point. And I just really like, and that scream at the end. Yeah,
but you're right. Until this point, there was nothing like this, and it gave you the advent of the new age of Bond.
Yeah,
what a way to introduce Daniel Craig.
100%. It's another. Yeah, again, I didn't realise this, but I've done firsts for those two Bonds, and they are. I know Roger Moore isn't everyone's favourite Bond, but he was mine because he was like my first introduction to Bond, and he was the sleazy womanizer that I kind of had wanted to be, as you can be at 8 years old or whatever. But he had that appeal to me, that kind of cockiness, and then Daniel Craig had that realism and that kind of grit to him as well. He wasn't.
He was kind of like a tortured Bond, really, wasn't he?
Yeah, and the difference was like. Roger Moore was that mahogany kind of permatanned, but if you put the two against each other, like Daniel Craig is not a pretty Bond. No. He's
a powder.
Yeah, and he's very kind of rugged in like the sense of like time is on his face. You can read his face and you can see that like he's not ugly. And he's not, he's not handsome either. He's just got this whole thing about him that makes him blend into the background, but also be in front of the background.
I think that's reflective, and I agree with you, Anthony. I love the Timothy Dalton.
Yes,
And Timothy Dalton, and it was said that Timothy Dalton was very much the Bond that was written about in the books.
Yeah, he was
Ian Fleming's Bond.
He was the pretty posh boy that was very smooth and suave and charming,
but not perfect.
No,
not perfect. And it's a bit like Daniel Craig. So you've got that rugged, gritty edge, and I think Dalton had that as well.
Yeah, and the thing that I think you lost in like Roger Moore was. He was a sleazy Bond, and he was out of all of them, including Connery. He came across as kind of like the car salesman of Bond. But I like that, and he wore a suit, and he would always raise the eyebrow, and give the side mouth to the lady sort of thing, and that would get him away, and that was quite cool. But then you bring in. Daniel Craig is the introduction to this, and this is yet again does it. It starts off. You've got this nice introduction to Bond with the guitars, and then you get Chris Cornell's voice come in and go, "Yeah, you had a perfect song. Now I'm going to make it gritty, grungy, and better." And that's what I think he does. Like he brings like a realism to the song into the film.
Yeah. And can we just remember that the opening to that movie is all black and white?
Yeah.
So when the it comes in, that's when the colour comes out and like it transitions it, doesn't it?
The red, and then you have this weird paisley background. It's so good.
Nice.
Yeah, see, Daniel Craig's my favourite Bond, but my top three favourite Bonds are Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan, and Timothy Dalton. Those three. I liked Connery and Moore. I kind of grew up with their films in a sense, but like you said, their Bonds are way different to what we're used to. So, and I kind of prefer the newer Bonds to their. Although their films are just as good, and I still like watching them.
I like the realistic Bond that we got. That torture scene where they whip the bottom out of the chair and then they swing in, and you just sit there and you're wincing along with him, and even if it's not real.
Because you never saw any of that. You never saw any of that with Moore and Connery.
You always got
you hit the nail on the head with the car salesman. They were.
You always got with them. It was like it's gonna happen. Like the laser's gonna go up, and they take the mickey out of it in all those films like Austin Powers, and the laser's gonna come up and it's gonna cut you in half. But it's gonna cut you. Not gonna cut you in half from the side through the side. No, it's gonna go up through your bollocks. That's it, and it's gonna.
And every man watching it is going
split the seam, but then you get Daniel Craig, and it's like we're not using lasers. No. Give me a hammer.
Fuck. So yeah,
we're going to hit you where it really hurts.
Oh,
literally.
Definitely, yeah.
Nice. Anything else on You Know My Name?
No, that's me done.
Nice. My number 4 is kind of a clash with John's number 5, but it's a banging version. All right,
okay, go on.
I love when I say how, because that's our word now, banging. It is the M.T.V.B version of the James Bond thing.
Yes.
So let's go with that quickly.
Yes, I love this one.
There we go.
Bond. James Bond.
I remember this.
Yeah.
This ain't your daddy's Bond thing, John.
No, not at all.
I like the upbeat of it though.
So why is this my number 4? So it's my number 4 because it's going back to our episode we did with the movie songs, Howard.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you remember how I mentioned the Mission Impossible song that was done by the U2 guys? Same version, upbeat, better nowadays. X-Files did it as well.
Yep.
There was the Saint by Orbital as well.
Yeah.
I think this is why I like this as well. Maybe did this after the Pierce Brosnan run, so it's kind of like a homage to all the Bonds from then. Because I think it got to number 20 at the time, so it was like the 20th anniversary for Bond as well. Obviously, he puts like little tunes. If you hear the little Bond kicking, goes with the song. Later on in the song, it's got quotes from all the movies and stuff as well. Like Goldfinger pops up now, and there is Live and Let Die quotes in there. But yeah. Just listen to it, man. It's so good. It's kick-ass.
It's so good.
I love driving fast to this. This in the background.
But it does have that energy. It has
It
that.
does, yeah. It's the energy of it. And I wish the Bonds had this now. But
See, I like this bit.
Yeah. But it changes this is the right change of pace, but it keeps the theme in the background. You got that.
it's like you said with Live and Let Die. It's that little cool down, and then it raises back up to it. It's so good.
It's actually quite good, yeah.
Oh, you like it, John? Yeah,
I've never heard
I like it.
You never heard? Oh.
You've never heard it?
No, not till now, no. But I like
It's just
it.
this little hype.
Waiting for you to say it.
You hear the the bomb going down. So yeah, that's why it's my number
I've
4.
listened to that in the car, yeah.
Yeah, no other reason for it, really. It's literally there for that. It's just like the updated version of it. Nothing wrong with the original, of course, but it's like all the other ones that did a nice little revamp for it. That's why it's on there for me as well.
Literally about to name somebody else who did one, but I'm not going to say it just in case it's on somebody else's list.
Oh, okay. Well, mention it afterwards then, yeah? Okay. Yeah, because if I don't know of it, then I'm going to listen to it.
I found the Eric Clapton song.
Oh, you did?
We'll do it at the end.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to connect and shit. So more editing for me. Thanks, John. Number 3.
Number 3.
So what is your number 3 then, John? Back to you, sir.
My number 3 is The Living Daylights with Aha.
Aha!
Aha!
Let's go then.
Sorry, Howard.
Well, technically, this is your... You want to put it in, Joel?
Why not?
Yeah?
Go for it.
They drive where we go. I swear my nerves are showing. Set my hopes up way too high. Living's in the way we die.
So why is it on the list, sir?
Again, I grew up in the 80s. All the 80s music that's my era. So I liked all the bands. So, when this particular band came out with this, I was a big fan of their music already. I'm a big fan of the Bond films. So to me, they match together perfectly. There's not much more to say, really. It's a fantastic 80s song, It was 1987, the 15th of the Bond franchise. Timothy Dalton as James Bond. It was his first film. Living Daylights.
So good. It is so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to say anything?
Well, it's my number 3 as well.
Oh, okay.
Go for it.
So, yeah, working the way through the
I
Bonds.
saw the eye go up and I thought, oh, here we go.
It's going to take you out over the
Damn.
table, mate.
You motherfucker.
For God's sake.
So you're working away from Roger Moore to Timothy Dalton, obviously I've only one Bond. But
Prince Baron.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he is. I loved Timothy Dalton as Bond, and this was another kind of a little reboot.
Yeah, it was a mini. It was there was a lot of
a new style.
Yeah, and his portrayal, I thought they got it spot on for me when I first saw it like 88, I think it was when the advent of VHS, and it finally been released. But my sister would play Aha non-stop. Day and night. She loved them, so ultimately by drip feed I loved them as well. So when I heard the theme tune to this one, I thought, that absolutely banging theme.
It's a banging tune.
It is, and memories of Aha for me is Take On Me.
Exactly that.
Yeah. So every time I hear that, all I see is the video,
the black and white video.
I absolutely
very clever for its time.
It was, quite revolutionary, and there was quite a few people who tried to copy that. But,
what would you say is the part of the song that's the Bond part of that song?
It's the breaks in between, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa,
it's like an orchestra strike, isn't it?
It was the last Bond film that John Barry scored.
It was, but did you know?
Wait.
He's going to beat me to
He's
something.
got one!
Yet again, who the alternative was for making this.
Oh, no. Go on.
So there was a song written originally for it by Blondie.
Oh, okay.
And it was they chose this over the Blondie one because they didn't like it. And
again, I'd be interested to hear her version.
So of whatever she had written. But she was asked to do a song, and the studio just didn't like it for whatever reason, as they're entitled to, and they went with Aha.
Oh wow!
Okay.
I think at that stage as well, Blondie had kind of been and gone, so she would have been. I don't think she would. That would have been a comeback for Debbie Harry, but I don't know that she would have done any worse a job than they had already done.
I can't see now.
She never went away from me, man.
No, me neither. And on the back of that, that's my number 3 as well.
No.
Nice.
Seriously.
Triple threat. We all went,
my God.
The Living Daylights.
I got another Did You Know?
I
Right. Prince Charles, well, King Charles now, but Prince Charles at the time visited the set with Lady Diana. And when they were in Q's lab, he set off one of the missiles by accident. It was obviously a prop, but he set one of the missiles off by accident. So I was reading, I thought...
security was tight after that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it was. But good film, great song.
So why is it in your number 3, sir?
So it's in mine because similar sort of reasons, but I was really into my 80s sort of music, those sort of bands, Aha and all that. And it just has... Like we talked about, like the bands of the time, and they were the band of that time. They were just coming off the back of kind of like that Take On Me, and I think their second album or something. And this was kind of them kind of doing what they did. The song itself does exactly the same as what all the others kind of do.
It's got the proper elements in it.
It sings the title. It sings a little bit in the song. There's elements of what happens in the film, nothing major. Hints at the hero and stuff like that, and hints at the villain. And it just does that whole thing where it kind of... This one's another one of those where it doesn't hit you in the face. It doesn't build. It just kind of... It's at Aha's level and just carries on going. And it's just a really nice kind of... it's not even 80s rock as such, because it's not really rocky.
I was going to say, it stands out by itself as a pop song.
That's it.
Regardless of whether it's a Bond film theme or not.
It's got its own legs. So.
It has,
and it's it's another style. Like you say, it's a poppy song. It's not like a ballad. It's not like some sort of operatic piece. It's not like a specialist kind of crooning. It's not a rock. It's not classic. It's not crooning. It's not rave. It's not. It's got its own little kind of 80s vibe.
But you get
definitely.
But you get the transition from the old school Bonds to the new Bonds. Do you know what I mean? Because you had Roger Moore before that.
Yeah.
And then it goes into Timothy Dalton, and so they've got this. You got this like it's the 80s now, coming out of the 80s.
Here is the 80s,
and this is the new Bond. So like we were saying earlier about, do you think they're going to change? I can see him doing it, but these still have the elements of the old Bond in them. It's just been brought more up to date in the 80s, I think, and that's kind of like I think why
I'd be really interested to see who the next Bond turns out to be. Because there's always rumours and stuff. I think they said who they wanted it to be, and
Joanna Lumley.
I'd go see that.
I would 100% see her.
I'd see Patsy B. Bond.
Yeah, definitely.
and Moneypenny being Jennifer
It's got to be,
Saunders.
it's got to be, right?
Oh
It has to
my
be.
God.
And M being Safi. That just
Safi.
that
I'm
is-
007, Tweety, darling.
Sweetie, darling, darling.
Yeah.
Here's a missile.
Yeah.
No, put it down, Safi.
Yeah.
Safi, put it down.
Yes. Where's the bolly?
It works.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It's already written.
See, there we go.
Can't
Done
believe
it, mate.
next
We've
year.
done it. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it like you say introduces the new Bond.
Yeah.
And the Bond of that era.
Yeah.
It brings in the music of the era, and it brings in the Bond of the era, and it says, here we are, we're the 80s.
Yeah.
And really, like you said,
Embrace.
I know. I said Roger Moore was kind of the start for me. He was
Wooden. Yeah.
He was very.
Well, he
wooden.
wasn't. He was. Well, they had. To me, Moore and Connery were very like old man Bond
Of their time.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I think-
And then when we get to the 80s, it's
Pedo
like, do you know
Bond.
what? When we get to the 80s, like, well,
Actually, Rennie
we got to have a younger person play Bond
I
now.
think, I think
that's where-
Connery was his charmer. Like
Yeah.
he has a charm about him when
Yeah.
he's being Bond and he's trying it on with the ladies. As where I kind of think that Roger Moore has given them Rohypnol because he just stands there. He stands
He's
there.
too suave for his own.
He stands there. He doesn't really.
No.
Emanate anything.
No, he doesn't.
And he raises an eyebrow,
Yeah.
and then they swoon at him,
Yeah.
which I think is like the Rohypnol's finally
Yeah,
kicked in.
I
He
mean,
keeps
that's
timing
now,
it,
yeah.
and he catches them,
Yeah.
and then off they go.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, you see them painted in gold on a bed,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, I always saw Sean Connery as kind of like a charming psychopath. He was like a sociopath.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Roger Moore was just a sleaze bucket. But saying about Timothy Dalton in the late 80s, that was kind of our era then.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? He was the Bond for the new era, and I think it's very much it sticks in the memory when you've got a theme tune like that, very very light but quick,
Yes.
and energetic.
But it's different. It's different generations.
Yeah.
You know, if we were to ask, say, our dads who their favourite Bonds were, they're going to say Moore or
Connery,
Connery
yeah.
because that's who they grew up with.
Unless they're
You
being
know,
a dick and they say
yeah.
Lazenby.
Yeah, but
Strange you should say that, because that's exactly what my father says.
Yeah. It's in my
I
dad as
like
well.
I like his film. I do like that film. It's quite a good Bond. So
It's not a bad, but it's not a bad portrayal of Bond, and it's a good
and
film.
then,
It's a different. Again, it's like the last Dalton one. It's a different version of him, isn't it? Yeah. So
yeah.
Anything else on Living Daylight?
No, those two little bits that I wanted.
Yeah. We should write the Patsy.
I think
and
so.
send it to Amazon.
So
They own the
nice.
rights now, don't they? So
You need this.
Yeah.
This must happen.
must have.
Oh, dear.
All right. Fuck. How do I wasn't prepared for this.
Your number 3.
Right.
Your
So
number
funny
3
enough,
is The
my
Living
number
Dead.
3 is not on Spotify. So I don't know if they didn't get the rights to it or not. But mine is from The Spy Who Loved Me. Nobody Does It Better.
Oh, really?
Yes. Reason I like this song, I kind of like. It's a feel good Bond song. The problem is with the Bond version the version in the film just stays to the same pace as it always does. But the original version, which is what I'm playing for you now, is a slow build up until the very end where it just kicks in, and then it has that extra sort of thump to it to just keep you going, and like, oh, this is actually quite catchy. And it's kind of sad how they didn't stick with that, and I'm not sure why they did that. But
Sometimes it's rights issues
I'm
to
looking
it.
at it.
maybe. I mean, it's not on Spotify, so there's got to be some sort of rights to it.
There must be something, because I've got like this. It's an actual James Bond themes, and it's like you say, it's not.
It's not on there, no. It's weird, isn't it?
Wow.
I think it might be like a studio thing, isn't it? Like Fox or whoever now owns Bond.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be the recording studio, it might be Sony or something, and so they own the rights to that, and so they won't give it up.
Yeah.
But
I love this film, but this was the first song that I ever slow danced to.
Is it really?
Yes.
No way.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
for me, it's got a little bit of a love theme edge to it.
Yes, definitely.
It's still very Bond, but yeah, for me, it emotes sort of different emotions.
who is it
yeah.
that sings it? Is it
Carly Simon.
Carly Simon,
Carly
isn't it?
Simon.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Found it, but it's a live version.
it's not. It's not the same.
No, screw that.
I'm just gonna forward it a bit to the bit when it kicked. This bit. So this extra beat to it is not in the film. It just stays.
No,
it stays at the same pace of the
End credits, it's in it. And
Is
it
it
does
in the
this,
end?
but at the beginning, you're quite right. It stays at this level, stays at one level the whole way through, smooth, even until it fades out. And
Exactly.
it does this bit, but without all this orchestra in the background. It just keeps going.
Yeah, and the opening theme just doesn't really sort of go with that. So
Maybe
I suppose the
deliberate.
upbeat part to it, but
Sort
maybe.
of sets the tone for the beginning and at the very end, because Bond has won, he's defeated the bad guy. Maybe that's the reason, because it's a bit more triumphant, isn't
Yes.
it? A bit more heroic.
So I purely put this on there because I just think it's one of those, again, one of those feel good ones. And I'm not going to lie when I say this, but I have done a few times where I've sang it in the car on the way to a long drive and whatnot.
I think you'd be forgiven.
But that's why it's got to go on there. So that's short and sweet for my number 3. We'll go to John's number 2.
Number 2.
Come on, John, get your Google out. Where are we?
Is that what you call it?
That's what he calls it.
Yeah, right. My number 2 is View to a Kill with Duran Duran.
Yes.
Can we guess why it's on here? It's something to do with the decade, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Is this the one with Christopher Walken as the bad guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Grace Jones.
Yeah, she's the baddie.
What, she's in it, yeah.
She's the bodyguard. She's his bodyguard, isn't she? Yeah.
So why View to a Kill then? Apart from being 80s.
It's going to be because it's got a greased up Grace Jones.
No, I'm not a fan of Grace Jones anyway. I am a fan of Christopher Walken.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm a massive fan of Duran Duran. It's the 80s. It's a Bond film. It's got Christopher Walken in it. What the hell? Come on.
So going with what we're sort of picking with these songs, what part of this do you think is the Bond part to this song?
All of it, really. You can hear Bond through the whole song.
So
Can you?
I can.
the drum beat goes for it, but then this bit here,
And it
this is the energy. So you've got this kind of like telling the story in the verses, and then it's now that final kiss is all we need. That's like, we're now going to get into some shit,
Right.
and this is what we need to get through this.
Yeah.
But
when you hear it with the film, it works better, I think.
Yeah.
but also written by John Barry, and it was a return after he'd left the series as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was the seventh and final appearance of Roger Moore.
Yes.
The only Bond theme song to reach number 1 in the Billboard Hot 100, and it earned a Golden Globe nomination for Best Song.
Okay.
I think with that song, it's the horn when it goes ba 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 ba. That's
And
the
it's
Bond
got
bit for me.
that's it.
The start of it, definitely.
Yeah, because it takes from the original theme tune and just throws it straight in there.
Yeah, again, it does that whole thing. Yeah,
Very Duran Duran though, which very clever, because they've taken a pop group of the time of
Simon
Rocky
Le Bon,
Band. Yeah, Simon Le Bon, yeah,
sailing around the world, being a genius.
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
and
Playing with the Wild Boys.
Yeah. Wild Boys. Yeah.
Oh, those Wild Boys. So they've thrown it all into the mix, and they've come out with a absolutely.
And the thing is,
stonking
with some of the other Bond films, I actually hear little bits of this song in those songs. You know what I mean? It's like they've taken tiny little bits here and there. And
From their own songs?
Pardon?
Okay, sorry.
So I was having this conversation the other day about Doctor Who. So I'm not going to talk about Doctor Who. That's for another podcast.
That's another podcast.
But the conversation went along the lines of every new actor who takes over as the Doctor will always inevitably look at what has come before and take the cherry pick the bits that work the best and make up their character.
Yeah.
The same, I think, is always said for a new Bond theme.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you will hear something of an
tiny
old
bits, like might just be the horn section. Do you know what I mean?
You hear it,
little bits.
Inevitably, because of the original theme tune,
Yeah.
yes, because they're always going to do that.
Yeah.
But the bits that people went, do you know what I liked about that song? Do you know what I liked about that song?
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's take
those little bits
and make it better.
And
Definitely. I feel that you get that through most of the modern ones anyway. You hear they've taken a bit from the last song that was done. So especially the last 4 that they've done, they've kind of taken something from what came before. And with the Duran Duran, you get that kind of that Bond smack in the face from the beat. You get that kind of slow middling bit. You get the mid-8 that just kind of brings it down a touch, but not too much, and then it brings it back up. And then the end, yet again, just crescendos with them singing the title of the film to their heart's content, and just keep going through. And it finishes with a fade out as well, because I think they just run out of things to say about the film, but it has that Bond kind of build, that whole, we're going to tell the story of this film through music, and we're going to do it at the pace the song goes at. And I think it does that really well as well. And I really like this song. This is one of my favourites Duran Duran songs of all time.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I really like Duran Duran. Yeah,
okay.
Not ashamed. I'm an apologist for them. But yeah, one of my favourite 80s bands of all time.
Yeah,
nice. Howard, what's your number 2?
Moving on, Gal.
Yeah, Gal. Yeah. Oh, fuck me, don't want to do that.
R.I.P.
So let's move up to the next Bond. It's a Pierce Brosnan.
Ooh, nice.
The World Is Not Enough. Garbage.
Good choice.
It's a good song too. Yeah. Much slower, but.
So why The World Is Not Enough then?
I don't particularly like the film, I'm going to be honest. It's a Bond film, I'll watch it, it's great.
It's the one with the submarine, isn't it?
The one with the submarine, Johnson.
Is it the news? Is he taking over the news, or am I thinking of...
No, that's Tomorrow Never Dies.
That's Tomorrow Never Dies. No, this one was...
It has a submarine at the end.
Yeah.
Forgot his name, Scottish actor.
Robert Carlyle.
Robert Carlyle.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got the tune when his name's dying. The film is clearly forgettable. I love garbage. I love Shirley Manson.
Shirley Manson is so good.
Well, I slept garbage, I breathed garbage, and I ate garbage.
Nice.
Some things haven't changed.
Shirley Manson was my goddess at the time. She still is. But yeah, it much like bands from the early 90s, Soundgarden.
Yep.
I followed that kind of dirty Seattle noise throughout the 90s.
And she was the British version of that.
She was the British version of that, yeah. So a Scottish Anglo-American band. And when this came out, it was the theme tune more than the film, more than anything that drew me into it. Yes, Shirley Manson, but when you listen to this, so listening to Sam Smith earlier, can you hear Sam Smith's tune in this one?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially that opening. Yes.
The opening is an absolute homage. So, yes, John, I think definitely when a new song is produced...
Take pics.
They take a pic. But it's very, very similar because it works.
Yeah.
And it is totally Bond. But I like that, and you're probably getting a thematic idea of what sort of song I like. It's quite slow. You can possibly dance to it.
Yeah.
The song tells itself. The song tells the story like what Mario said.
Yeah,
So you got your highs and your lows and so on. It all matches in quite perfectly.
Yeah. But yeah, I just love it. I think it's a great song.
I think they've stolen quite a lot from this song for some of the newer ones. So if you look at the Sam Smith one,
Billie Eilish.
and yes, that's where I was going with that. The Billie Eilish one as well. I think they've taken from this, but I also think these have taken from earlier artists as well. Like
they have
one in particular, and I think they just kind of they kind of show off what she did, and then they kind of show it in their own style. Like,
definitely, yeah.
This was the first time I'd ever heard Shirley Manson sing slow.
So that's what I was going to say. So
she's always
if you listen to Garbage, especially their first two albums.
They are not like this at all.
Nothing.
No.
That's why I was like super shocked when they announced that they were doing the thing to it.
I was excited and confused.
It's just like,
how is
what?
this going to work?
Yeah, and it does that thing like with the Sam Smith one. I like Shirley Manson, and I lived through the Garbage years, and I liked all that as well. And she does bring that voice to this, and she brings a voice that she's never had before.
No, it's good to see that other side of them, isn't it?
They really pushed out the boat.
It's like when you hear, like, Robbie Williams did a swing album, and it's like, what does he do for swing? He doesn't do anything for himself. And then she goes, what does she do for a Bond film? Well, she brings this, and she proper brings,
kicks ass.
And I got to be honest, it's fantastic. But I mean, her voice is like a glass of milk. It literally lulls you to sleep in a good way. And more than so. I think this is probably the first song on my list where I would say it's the song rather than the film, more than anything that would draw me into watching the film.
I can understand.
Yeah, we're not saying like the films are the best. It's the songs themselves, isn't it? Yeah,
no. But some of the previous ones on my list were the film and the song, but this one was just the song.
Is this the one when they made Denise Richards the Bond girl?
Yes, Down the Mine or something.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, it's Christmas only comes once a year.
That's her name. That's it. Christmas Jones or something name, isn't that?
Something like that.
That's right. Yeah.
That was the last Bond to have the original Q in it, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Nice. Anything else on The World Is Not Enough, sir? No. Okay, then over to Mario with your number 2, sir.
So mine is a change of pace for me, and it's Sheena Easton with For Your Eyes Only.
Nice. Let's have it.
You can hear that.
In the background, the little sparkles, the beat as well, and the way that they phrase this section as well. You hear the almost Bond-like.
For your eyes only.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
For your eyes only.
This is Roger Moore?
Yes.
It was in my top 5 and I took it out.
Was it really?
Yeah. I took it out to put my number 5 in.
It's not 80s enough for you, is it, John?
No, it is.
Can you not hear the electronic keyboard?
I know, right? That's why I was like surprised.
Every instrument is played on a keyboard rather than actually played, which was the thing.
Yeah.
But it does that thing again. Look, it starts small and then... There we go. It encompasses Bond. It brings up, like... Goes from nothing, here's the little build, and now I'm just going to smack you in the face with a wall of sound. But I'm using my voice in this case. This is one of the few Bond where the instrumentals in the background just aren't there.
Yeah.
They're kind of...
the focus is on the voice.
Yeah, they're accents to the song, and they're accents to Bond as well. So, like, you get little clips and little moments where it's like, parts of Bond themes that have come before, or the Bond theme, and then it just kind of slips back into this kind of
mellows back down again.
Now we can breathe, now we can relax, and now we're going to tell you a little bit about why we're here, and then
it's okay. I've got you.
I'm going to explain.
I can feel the pat on my head as they say it at the same time.
I'm just going to explain something. I'm just going to explain something to you now. It doesn't seem relevant, but in about 30 minutes. Right, it will be relevant because we've mentioned it now. Okay, so now we're just going to go through this again and again, and then it just builds again, and it comes back in, and it does that thing that Bond themes do, which is like they start small and then they build, or that's how my Bond themes do. They start small and then they build to. And if you didn't know, it's from For Your Eyes Only, the Bond film.
I'm not getting that.
No, I thought it was difficult. I think the subtext in there caught about, but it's just such a nice song.
It's like my number 3 was just.
It doesn't do anything kind of out of the norm of the others, and it is different to all the other songs that I've chosen. Just for that fact, it's nice, gentle. It's her voice that carries the song and carries the kind of process of the film, and the production is really minimal on this as well.
It's weird how Roger Moore's had a mixture of like a couple of ones in your face, like View to a Kill and Live and Let Die, and then we've got like a couple of minutes, like my one, your one was just a slow pace,
just
and
nice, easy.
I
think he had also the benefit of seeing out a lot of the 70s into the 80s, so the early 70s and the early to the late 80s.
He brings like that disco or that kind of, because that's what a lot of the electronica and stuff in the background and most of those sort of era songs is. It's like fallbacks to disco.
Also, you pointed out about Paul McCartney's Live and Let Die, so he included quite a few different styles within that, and it was the changing period to the changing music of the time.
It's one of the few songs that randomly it changes its beat pattern and its timing in the song. So it goes from, I can't remember whether it's 4/4 or whatever, but it goes from one beat pattern to another beat pattern to another beat pattern and then back to the original beat pattern, all in like 3 phrases. And it's really strange to do that and successfully do it, and put it into a song that's cohesive as well with it. And this one just lulls you to sleep. It's like not as she's not as, I don't put her in the same kind of vocal as Shirley Manson, but she really is just easy just to close your eyes, relax, listen to, put it in the background, as Sheena Easton was and is, just simple. And it does something for the Bond film. That Bond film, it doesn't do anything other than what the song does. There's no massive pace to it. There's no massive kind of big crescendo to anything. It does what it is. It just moves along at a pace of a Bond film.
It's a typical Roger Moore Bond, isn't it? So
There's a big bit at the beginning that lulls into not lulls, but then builds into the film, and then the film from that point is just kind of a slow kind of meander through him being Bond and the bits that you like about Bond, with a car chase scene, with a gunfight, with a punch in the face here and there, with a jump from boat to boat to boat or whatever, and it just does that the whole way through, and the song just shows that, like, here's the slow pace, now we're telling some story, and now we're just going to have some action, and then we're going to tell some story, and now we're going to have some action,
and that's coming back.
With an appearance by Zarkov from Flash Gordon.
It is, Baron Zarkov. So
damn it, Howard, you're meant to like. Anything else on For Your Eyes Only?
I think I covered that.
Nice. So my number 2 then is a clash with John. Thank you, John. License to Kill.
God damn it, John.
Well, I expected it because
but everyone thought this was going to be my number 1. So
well,
no,
I must admit,
right.
I did kind of think that because he's a massive Timothy Dalton fan.
Yeah, I mean, it's
he's a massive what? Sorry,
at least I don't watch him with a pillow on my lap, John.
Waiting for his dinner.
Exactly. But yeah, I can't. Again, everyone knows this is my favourite Bond. Favourite Bond movie as well. It's the one I grew up with the most. Apart from when I really thought about this list, and we'll go into it with my number 1 when number 1 comes along. But yeah, I can't deny pure 80s, pure me. I love 80s. So that's why not my whole entire list is 80s, John. But yeah,
is it?
It's not. It's not my entire list.
I was going to say, bloody hell, mine nearly was.
Exactly. So we'll go straight to the number 1s then.
It's number 1.
Bring it home, John Whiff.
One whiff, yeah. My number 1.
I like it.
I like it, yeah. Is
it?
Skyfall, Adele.
Nice. It's an odd pick, but let's go.
And there's Bond.
Yeah.
Right there from the start again.
Yeah, exactly. And like you say, then it
brings it down again.
Just the 12-inch version, John.
No.
That's what he tells all the women.
What, that he's got a really long intro?
and a small outro.
So why Adele? Why Skyfall?
It's not necessarily Adele. I like her voice anyway. I'm not a massive fan of Adele. I do like some of her songs. I'm more a fan of the film. It's one of my favourite. I would say it's probably my favourite Bond film. I think it's underrated.
Right.
I like it because the story of the film itself is, Bond gets sent out to pick up a hard drive. He's on top of this train fighting the guy who's got it. And the girl who is Moneypenny, who isn't normally in a Bond film, but she's on assignment with him, gets told basically by M, who is Judi Dench, take the shot, and Bond gets hit and falls off the train, and they assume he's dead. And he uses the time that he's dead.
And that's when we melody into the song, isn't it?
Yeah.
When he gets shot and he's like falls in the water.
Then the film, then it goes into the main film. That's your stylized intro.
And that's when they use the
it's like the murky water effect, isn't it?
The blood. As it comes down, the blood comes up.
That's it.
And that changes into your silhouetted naked ladies dancing.
Why is it always naked ladies?
I don't know why that's in my head and why I can remember that.
And I just love the fact, he pretends to be dead, so he takes 3 months off, he retires. and then all these things happen in the background, and M dies and all this, and so he comes out of retirement. And to me, that's pure Bond. You know, he's like, I've done my service. I'm retiring now, and then.
But as a song, your list has been a specific type all the way through, and then you've gone with an actual like classic Bond theme. Why has that gone?
I like it because I like.
Why has that beat the 80s stuff?
I like her voice. I like the film, and it's got the old style Bond in the song. You can hear it running in the background.
It's got those.
I liked how, we'll say, a more modern singer has taken elements of the older style Bonds and created this song about it. I think that's why I put her in as number one.
And she also does something.
It's a powerful voice, and she's got the power there when you want it.
That's what she does. The same as the rockier ones, and like the Paul McCartney one, is like the build to that crescendo.
You got your little build thing.
Voice.
She's got such a punch. You know, you're really getting that belt in the face from her, and then she's able to slow it back down and bring it back. That's why it's my number one.
Nice.
It's a song I listen to in a car, and again, up the volume goes, because I could listen to that really loud all day long.
Nice.
There's a lot of artistry in this one as well. Like you hear all the horns and the piano as well. Not keys anymore. It's a proper piano playing and strings. And it lends itself to her voice so well.
I think so. Yeah.
And also like the way that she if you listen to it, it's singing. It's the first time you kind of listen to the lyrics, and they are singing about what's happened to him. Yeah. And also that Bond film is the first different Bond film in that we actually learn about Bond. Like all the way through this, we kind of had this preconception that he is like.
That's why, because I'm a sucker for an origin story.
Yeah, and it is,
and it's my favourite Bond film because of that.
Yeah,
because in all the other Bond films, he's this agent. He goes out, he does whatever, it comes back,
has something,
has
his
love interest.
Yeah,
it's good. But with this one,
you get flashbacks.
You actually get it. It's to me, it's a very gritty Bond. Yeah. He's done a job, and he decides, that's it, I've had enough now. But comes back because of his attachment to M and the service and stuff. And then he goes on this revenge trail to try and catch this guy, so.
It's one of the few times that you see a vulnerable Bond.
Yes.
Like the last time you saw, or in my memory of seeing a vulnerable Bond, was actually Connery.
Yeah.
And that's when he gets married to his wife, and then she gets killed, and then from that point forward, like he is a changed man. Like, and this is the only other time you ever see like that vulnerable Bond, like people that he's trusted and that he's known his entire life, and people where he's come from, his family home and all that is now at risk and in danger, and he's in danger of being discovered for who he is. And I think that's also captured in the song as well. Like, when the sky falls, when we tumble, like talking about his entire world just coming down around him. It covers all those bases of that different Bond film.
Yeah. It's like I say, I love the story, love the film, love the song. Everything kind of marries together really well, I thought.
It very much sets the tone for the next couple of songs as well.
Definitely.
I don't think there's much more I can add, really.
Nice. Good pick, sir. I'm just very surprised how it's like a certain lot, and then a jump to an actual.
The jump forward, I think, is because we all love a good Bond film, and it's like I think Mario hit the nail on the head earlier when he's saying, a good Bond film has to have this, it has to start off, you have to have this punch in the face, then it has to die off a little bit and then come back, because that's what Bond does. That's a Bond film all over. You get this. I love the intros to the Bond movies, because that's
it, yeah.
Before the credits roll. It's like
9 times out of 10 they have nothing to do with the rest of the storyline of the film.
But it's kind of setting the tone. It's kind of setting a tone, and to set a tone over like 20 minutes, it can. Some of them I think are really long. This isn't a couple of minutes and then we're into a film.
It's like almost 10, 15 minutes long.
It can be quite a bit on some of the films. So.
And usually these ones start off with like a slow sort of depressing start as well. Like obviously we've had Bond get shot right on the wall, go straight into the death of someone as well. So again, it's very slow paced, whatnot.
Yeah, but to me, like you say, the words are there. You listen to the words in the song, and it's basically telling you this is what to expect from the film. This is what's roughly going to.
It's coming for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is him.
Yeah, that's why I kind of jumped from the 80s songs to her, because I thought, well, yeah.
Makes sense, mate. Good pick. Over to Howard's. Howard's number 1.
So we move from Pierce Brosnan up the chain to Daniel Craig. Ooh. And I chose this one for many, many reasons. Some that Mario has already mentioned.
Sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. And I'm glad that you picked it. It's Casino Royale. You know my name, Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
I love everything about the film, the song, the singer, the actor. I think it's the epitome.
I think it was in your top movie song of all time as well, wasn't it? On that episode, wasn't it? You did with us.
Yeah,
it's got to be.
This film is in my top 5 movies of all time.
Yeah,
it's one of the perfect.
He's
films.
my favourite Bond. I love Daniel Craig's Bond. I love
introduction to him.
I love how he told the story over the 5 films. You know, I loved how it ended. I like the ending film. Not a lot of people love it. They think it's all right. I actually think it's very, very good.
No, I think the ending was a genius movie.
Yeah, I thought if you're going to end it properly, which they did. They never did with the other ones. It went from one actor to another actor. And I think, well, okay, but in this one they actually killed him off. But did they? They kind of left you thinking, you know. So I'm a sucker for the Daniel Craig Bond movies. They're my favourite.
Yeah, definitely. And again,
I thought the music for every one of them was very good as well.
Oh, tip top.
Yeah,
I mean, this is a new Bond, a new era, a new style of music, and I think I'm probably as big a Chris Cornell fan as Mario is. I grew up in the 90s with. I started with Nirvana. I'm not.
Everyone started with Nirvana.
That
was a feeder drug.
And
feeder drug into Pearl Jam, then from Pearl Jam into Soundgarden.
But yeah, Soundgarden. I mean, Black Hole Sun.
Oh, it's such a good song.
Literally one of the
Spoon Man.
Yes, the soundtrack of my life, really. And when I learnt that he was doing the theme tune to this film, I thought, well, because we hadn't had Bond for what was it? 5 years?
Yeah, it's been a bit of a gap.
5-6 years,
About 5-6 years. So we knew something new was coming. And with that, when this... So you had the beginning sequence, the black and white, it was all motif and very, very noir. Brilliant. And then this kicked in, and I literally shat my pants.
So you knew he was doing it before the movie came out?
I did. Yeah. So doubly excited, and it did not disappoint.
No, not at all.
On any level.
And it, yet again, it just brought Chris Cornell back.
It did.
He'd been gone for a little while at this point, and then all of a sudden he's back, and everyone's going, well, where have you been? And it's like, we know where he's been. We've been listening to his stuff for these years, and now he's back.
Yeah.
There's a line from Johnny English where he claims that he's a spent force. And that's exactly what I think about Chris Cornell when I think about this song.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, you could just listen to the passion and the power in that guy's voice.
It's so good.
So hitting those, we've already talked about it, but hitting those high notes. And he's literally, he's getting at a shovel and he's smacking you in the face with it. But you're loving every second of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a great song.
And he's not... Like, we listen to Adele. Adele has that clean vocal. You listen to Sheena Easton, she's got that clean vocal. You listen to Aha, Duran Duran, they've all got these clean poppy boy vocals, and then you get a rock star to do this. I think there's only one other person that's done a Bond theme that comes close to this, and the two of them sound so similar in their approach to their Bond theme. And I just think Chris Cornell, definitely nailed it. And if he was trying to emulate that other person, he knocked it out of the park. He really did. I don't want to say it just in case. I know we've only got one left. But just in case.
Well, we never know with them. Yeah.
But yeah.
Make it out like it's going to be it. But we can put it in the honourable, dishonourable mentions.
But Chris Cornell, just such a powerhouse.
Unbelievable.
It's a very good track. Obviously, it's... I'm not a fan of that music, but I do like that song. I like that style. I'd be inclined to go and listen to some more of his stuff.
This is the thing about the Bond themes and the people that have done it. You listen to Shirley Manson doing this, and then you go and listen to Garbage, and you're like, that is not the same person as did this song.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is not Chris Cornell.
Oh, it's not.
Like if you listen to like say Black Hole Sun, Spoon Man, anything by that Soundgarden era. And yet again, I can't remember his side project he did, but they were so good as well. It was a super group of the time, and it had all the artists and people in there, Rage Against the Machine and all sorts, with Chris Cornell fronting it. Amazing, and it smacks you in the face, and it is not what he does here.
Right.
In here, this is
is this more mellow, more mild for him?
This is more mild. This is what I would say is Chris Cornell crooning.
Oh, okay.
Is the way that I would put it. And he's not crooning in this song, but this is what I would say is him kind of doing his Sinatra. This is his Sinatra. This is he's crooning to this song. It has everything.
This is his way of saying I can do this as well.
Yeah, and it's also like it's a different approach. If you're going from a guy that's a 5-piece band, drums, guitar, bass, him, and another if need be. This then goes, okay, we've got that, but we've also got these 16 other guys that can play really good orchestral instruments. What do you want to do? Oh, we'll just put them in the background there, but we'll front it with the guitar and the drums, but we've got this in the background as well. And it pushes him to a whole nother level.
It's a good move.
No, that wasn't the one. I can't remember what it was now.
No, hold on. Stand by, keep talking.
But no, like you said, I never knew who Chris Cornell was until I heard this, and then I looked back into him a bit more. And then when he'd done Soundgarden did the song for Avengers, didn't they?
Audioslave.
And he's on the soundtrack. Because I was like, oh my god, this song's badass.
Yeah, and they've done so many songs that you will have heard in the background of something, but not realised it was them unless you were a fan.
Yeah.
And he pushes. He comes back with this song and he pushes it to a bond to a different level, and it shows that it's a new Bond as well, and it's a modern Bond. And this, yet again, Audioslave wasn't the band of the time. He wasn't the band of the time, and yet he's just there, and it's so good. And it's not someone that you would pick out of a lineup to do.
They picked it well, obviously. Yeah. There was an alternative, so
definitely there.
Nice.
Temple of the Dog was with Pearl Jam.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Sorry. Anything else on that, mate?
Sidebar.
Sorry?
No. I could talk all night about all of those subjects, but we shall move on.
All right. Then over to Mario, number one. So, numero unos.
I've already expressed my love for this band, Undying and otherwise. Duran Duran's A View to a Kill.
Damn it, John. It's always you, isn't it?
Spoiling it for another generation.
But if Mario had gone first, then I would be.
That's true. That is true.
I would already taken.
So, apart from your love from Duran Duran, is it why is it your number one?
So it's my number one because it has that pulse at the beginning, and this one is another one where the energy levels set quite high, and then it comes down again. The vocals and this little melody here, and then it builds it again, and also like it's just such a song of the time. It explains the film quite well as well in the pace that it sets, which I thought was quite good, and it kind of has that element that kind of it. Even in the quiet bits, these kind of here's the suspense. Now we're going to smack you with something, and then we're going back to the song, and then we're going to hit. It just has that whole build to it. The structure of the song, the vocals, the band behind it as well. Duran Duran. It's massive, it's big. I really like this song, and it's also, you always say it's the one that you sing along in the car. I had a mini disc, the only mini disc I ever owned.
Mini disc, yes.
Only mini disc I ever owned.
Never had one. I
and
always
it
wanted
was this band's greatest hits, and the one song that I played over and over again was this one.
This is on the greatest hits.
This is on the greatest hits, and it was just when mini disc had come out as well. So I had my Sony mini Discman that I would carry around with me. The only thing that I could actually record.
When did they ever go out? The mini discs were cool.
Mini discs were amazing, but they were basically CD on a smaller format.
Yeah, they were,
and slightly more compressed sound. But they were so good. Duran Duran and this song. And to have it as a Bond theme as well, just like, there you go.
Good to have a favourite band do a movie song, basically.
Exactly, yeah. It was like watching, when you get in there and you see Top Gun and you hear that theme at the beginning of Top Gun. This was it. Like this come in, this was it. So good.
Nice. So, anything else on that then?
No.
Or did John steal most of it?
John stole most of it.
Was there an alternative? Was there an alternative for this at all? Or?
So Duran Duran, what have I got? No, this was the one that they chose. But yet again, it was another one written by John Barry. Like I said before, and he came back. He came back to do this, and he wasn't going to. So I'm really grateful that he did, and he did it with the band as well. And I think he plays to the band. You can hear his inclusion into the song as well, which is really cool. I really like that. And that element of including Bond into an 80s, they're not really rock, but that kind of 80s kind of feel.
Yeah.
And he did it very well. Like he's done with most of them, John Barry, whenever he's written into it, he's kept his element of Bond, but in the style of the artist that's done it, which I think is quite humbling. Because you want to go, well, I wrote the Bond theme or produced the Bond theme, and then like to allow other people to have their own interpretation and include you in it. I think that's quite cool.
Nice. How do I follow that? For sake, Mario, I've got to stop going after you, mate. Seriously. Right, my number one then is going to be Tina Turner's GoldenEye.
Hey!
Oh, wow, yeah.
Right, so there's a story behind this and why I picked this as my number one over my favourite Bond movie. Straight away.
Yeah.
That's Bond straight away.
Yeah.
Just on 4 notes.
You could tell it was a Bond, and you could even say, like, even blind, you wouldn't know what the film was, but you can go, oh, this is from a Bond film, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then that kicks in.
Yeah.
But it's when that beat kicks in, and then you're like, oh, this is going to be good. When it was in that.
That's it.
So it's like an upbeat to it, but it's still within the realm of a Bond song, isn't it? But again, this was so basically, Timothy Dalton is my favourite Bond, but Pierce Brosnan is the Bond I went to the movies to see. I never saw any of the other ones previously before this. So the reason why this is in my number one is that this was the one that was in the charts of my era. So this is when I actually got to recognise that there were songs for Bond movies. Obviously, I watched them as a kid on M.T.V.B, whatnot, but you don't watch it for the song, you watch it to watch Bond. So when this got into the charts, I was like, I'm not really a big Tina Turner fan, and I haven't even heard from her since Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome. And all of a sudden, she came back with this ultimate banger of a song.
But she's so reminiscent, and I can say it now because we've all done them. So reminiscent of Shirley Bassey.
Yes.
In her approach to the way she vocalises and phrases some of the words, she's so kind of on it. Do you know who wrote this?
No, go on.
Bono and the Edge.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bono and the Edge wrote this.
Jeez.
You can hear it now.
Yeah, now you can hear it.
Because you can hear the
Bono almost singing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
In his pretentious way. You know,
Pretentious-moi.
the money's going to charity. No, it's not. It's going to...
A lot of that thing you can now hear in what they did for Batman Forever.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But
now that you've said it.
Yeah, I mean, the music video was great to this as well. Again, this was so close to going in the movie songs of all time list that we did for this. But then after that is when I stopped figuring out who was next to be in it, because after Tina, it was more with the times of who was doing the things. So the next one was Sheryl Crow. She was up in time, and then we had Garbage, and then we had other ones after that. Tina Turner was kind of like a little comeback for her, if you will. It's just like, because again, we hadn't heard from her in ages, and all of a sudden she just pops up and doing a song for this. I think the last thing she was in was a cameo in Last Action Hero. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, she hadn't done much up to this point. I think so. Tina, they were doing the musical. She was writing the musical about her life or being involved in that. But this brought her back, didn't it? It's like Chris Cornell. It was a revolution of her. She'd always come back and done some stuff in the 80s, from like way back from the 70s, and she'd come back to do this. And then out of nowhere, this comes in, and it is massive. But it does that thing yet again that all the Bond films do. It's all the Bond themes do, where it's like a little bit, and then she just pushes it there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it goes with the sort of intro that was for GoldenEye, the movie, and then it kicks in. And I remember seeing it at the old Crawley ABC cinema, and then because I'd heard the song before, because it was obviously in the charts at the time, and when you hear that dun dun, but the thud, the thump of that digital surround sound at the time, just it hit like you could feel your lungs vibrate. It was like, oh my god, this is so good. But sorry, the ending. I love the ending to this because again, we are usually into a slow pace straight after. So the end of the song, it like goes dun 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 dun, and it goes straight into a car race. Yeah, yes. It's like GoldenEye just does not stop, and the theme song just keeps going.
It finishes, and then you get the rev of the engine.
That's it. It goes. You have the little tunnel thing, don't you? And it comes out and it revs and whatnot, and you're like, "Oh, I wasn't ready for this. I was ready for just like a slow build, like you said." The other ones,
lady or something, or just like a hotel somewhere, and M's calling him, or even walking in the office, chucking something on the hat rack.
No, straight into
a race scene, a car chase scene, even shall I say?
Introduced to Xenia on the top.
He was on the top.
On the top.
Wish she crushed me between her thighs.
She always did like a good squeeze. She did.
You see that's quintessential Bond. All those silly little quips and things.
The innuendo without being innuendo.
I mean, anyone who says I don't like a Bond film, get out of here, because there's nothing to not like about a Bond film as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's it.
I think my most favourite quip was when, I think it was Goldfinger, where the guy was in the bath and he throws the fire in the bath and he gets electrocuted and he goes, shocking.
Yeah. It's summed up everything.
Wow.
And I wonder if that's where Arnie and all that got their
It
stuff
must
from.
be. Yeah, I was about to say it must be.
Nice to meet you.
Stay
know where
cool,
that one
bird
came
boy.
Oh man.
But she does that. She is Burley Chassis. She is Shirley Bassey.
Yes.
Like she takes them. I guess Shirley's had her time.
The inspiration from her, isn't it?
And of course, having Shirley Bassey done like 2 Bond themes previous to that, and then you need someone else that can kind of carry that power across. Tina Turner is that perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet again, another rock artist or rockish artist, or soul artist
doing
that's come
something
in and done this.
Completely different, just a different side of her.
But the editing made it so good, like you say, it flows like a lot of them do. They flow straight into the film. There's no. Like Ant just said, there's no, I can breathe for a minute now. No, the film's already starting sort of thing, Oh.
And I like how he did that, so yeah.
See, the other ones that do that are like Thunderball, are like Tom Jones, which is the one that I compare. Which is the one I compare Chris Cornell to, because at the end they both scream at the top. And the rumour is that Tom Jones passed out singing that last note of Thunderball.
Really?
Yeah, whilst doing it for the recording, he sang it so high that he passed out. And I think that's what they all do. They all have an ending that's relevant to the start of the film. They either lull down and kind of get you to that point where, okay, I can sit and enjoy this now, or they kind of build and then smack you in the face with the next thing. And that's where the songwriting and the artistry of the people performing it just kind of take over, and you get that Bond thing. And Tina Turner, so good.
Exactly.
My granddad used to love her.
Really?
Yeah, he said that even at 50 she had great legs.
He wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't
wrong. And she
wasn't.
could still dance on stage. There's a concert years ago with her and Rod Stewart on stage, and he starts dancing with her for a bit, and she goes the entire night dancing on stage with him on stage, and he just sits down at the front and he picks up his mic and goes, "No, you carry on, love, I'll be here."
Yeah, he's out of breath already. There's no way. He's going to catch up with Tina.
Not at all.
Well, he was 102.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
But yeah, GoldenEye, number 1 for me. So we did say at the start, let's do some horrible mentions. So was there a song or two that you are not a fan of?
I don't like Diamonds Are Forever.
Oh, okay. That's Shirley Bassey, isn't it?
That's Shirley Bassey.
I'm the same. Yeah, I don't like it.
It's quite mundane.
It's a good film.
It's a good film. It's quite a mundane song. It doesn't really do anything as far as I'm concerned for Bond. Like, she sings it really well. It's really well produced, but as songs go, it doesn't do anything. And it doesn't I don't think it gives the impression of what Bond is about. And it doesn't have any kind of excitement in the song. It's just Shirley Bassey doing what Shirley Bassey does, and she sings it really well. She's got a great voice. English hero with a Welsh songstress behind him, but just doesn't do anything for me.
Okay. Howard?
I think the only one that I'm not keen on, I wouldn't say it's a bad song, it's not a bad song at all, is All Time High, Rita Coolidge, which went to Octopussy. And it's just one, I said about forgettable films, but it's a forgettable song. It's just, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere.
When I looked up and was going through them, I didn't even recognise the song as in as a Bond theme or as a song.
Yeah,
itself.
exactly that. Yeah. It doesn't, it's just nothing. It's a good song, but it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Magic.
Yeah.
And that's about all I can say.
Not even that. It's in the background of a lift. You can get in a lift and it'll be playing.
That bit of Muzak, playing.
Okay, I'm getting off now.
Thank Christ.
Women's lingerie. Oh, there we are.
Menswear. Looking through the list, I think I could probably say that. That is the only one. The rest I can sit and listen to, but that's I would not listen to it.
Okay.
Not a big fan of it myself. No.
To me, have you got any then, John, or just that one?
No, not really. I didn't
bother.
Didn't do a hate list.
No, well, this is very last. I'm going to go with the other Shirley Bassey, which is Moonraker. Even she detests that that song herself.
She wasn't originally going to sing it.
No.
And the name of the song. Do you know what the name of the song was?
No, go on.
Mr. Kiss Kiss Bang
Bang.
Bang.
Bang Bang. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's.
I don't know why they would call it that or what the point of that was, but yeah. But Moonraker is not. Yeah, it's not great.
It's not a bad film, but the song is not great.
No. I like Moonraker because it's almost a comical Bond.
It's the cheesiest one, isn't it? Come on.
It's Bond in space.
Well, yeah, it is.
I think Die Another Day was quite
Bond.
cheesy.
Say again?
Die Another Day was quite cheesy.
I quite like Die Another Day, to be honest.
Die Another Day, I think,
But it was a bit cheesy.
But it was cheesy, yeah.
Oh, I've got another one that I really despise as well. Yeah. Madonna.
I was waiting for someone to say that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And this is what I was saying about she has an element to Bond, but then she literally does her own thing towards the end, doesn't she?
She does a Madonna song.
Yeah.
But like, she doesn't even play homage to anyone or anything. Bond.
I think there's a bit at the beginning, it's like a bit of a Bond, but apart from that, that's it.
It's probably
Madonna
thrown
song.
in for the sake of
Yes, yeah.
I think it's
because they're like, you got to put Bond in there. Madonna.
she-
You can't just have your own
But
song.
see,
it's more like she's written the song.
Yeah.
And they've gone, we're going to call the film this. Okay, cool. I've written a song, and it's about it'll work. And then they've gone, it hasn't got a Bond element. I know what. Let's just add 3 bumps to the beginning, and we're done.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
It was a bit too Uber, wasn't it?
Yeah. And she was in it, wasn't she? The
she
riding
was.
instructor.
Now,
saying,
from what I understand, I think she was in it, and then they chose her to do the song instead of the other way around.
Oh, okay.
From what I understand, but again, that could just be hearsay. Now, interestingly, I was saying at the very top of this before we started recording about the other potential list that I was going to do. I think Madonna kind of redeemed herself a little bit when she did. Oh, actually, maybe it was after. I can't remember what came before. When she did. Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful
Stranger.
Which is
Stranger.
a very
Before,
good
it was
song.
before, yeah.
Much better song.
I'll
Much
tell
better
you,
song.
Much
Yeah.
better song.
I had the soundtrack that Madonna wrote for one of my favourite comic book films of all time.
Dick Tracy.
It was Dick Tracy.
Yes!
Tracy, of course.
Yes!
She was in it.
Sooner or later, you're gonna be fine.
And I had that in the album, and I played that to death. And then later on in life, when Christina Aguilera did a very similar album, bearing in mind that these aren't genres that I like, or genres that I normally listen to by older artists, when she produced an album that was very similar to that, I was like, I'm sold. This is great. This is back to that Dick Tracy album. But I love that Dick Tracy album that Madonna did.
Yeah.
And it was so good.
And what a great film.
Yeah.
I forgot.
She was seeing him at the time, wasn't she?
She was with Warren Beatty at the time. Yeah. De Niro in it as well.
Al Pacino, yeah. Pacino's amazing in that film.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman's Mumbles.
Yeah, Mumbles.
Mumbles, yeah.
It's a great cast in that movie, seriously. But you couldn't tell half of it because of the makeup they were under and stuff, wasn't it?
That was such an underrated film.
And the bright colours of everything was exactly like I remembered it. So I wanted to, I don't know if any of you remember, there used to be a Dick Tracy, we've gone way off James Bond here.
Yeah.
There used to be a Dick Tracy cartoon on a Sunday morning.
Did, yeah.
He had the talking watch before Michael Knight had the talking watch, the radio watches. And
he dispatched his little minion to do the work.
That's it, yeah. And that was exactly it. It was Dick Tracy was the name, but actually it was everyone else.
Yeah.
All the side characters, Brains or whatever, or whoever he was sending out was going to be the hero of the hour, and he would come and get the arrest at the end of it, almost like Hawaii 5-0. But he was like that film just kind of took Dick Tracy to actually being Dick Tracy. Like it was Batman before, it was almost the campy Batman that I wanted modern Batman.
Well, you say about the colours and the style, and it was quite dark, wasn't it? And I think it took a lot of thematic stuff that had been done with Batman a couple of years previous.
Definitely, and brought it in, and it was so.
But you're right, we've gone
way off. It has a Danny Elfman score as well. So
yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you for doing that. Your episode, that was really good. Obviously there was going to be clashes, there's only so many we could pick from in the end today, but thank you very much for doing that.
I enjoyed that.
And we'll leave it there, I guess. So if you like what you listen to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B podcast, or on TikTok at M.T.V. podcast 197, or Instagram at M.T.V. podcast. I'm your host Anthony, followed by
JK
whatever.
Sorry.
H, the man with two lists.
Mario, Super Mario.
The name's Mario.
The name's Mario. Super Mario.
Super Mario.
Well, thank you guys, and we'll see you soon. Goodbye.